Don't be fooled. Yes, it really is 8:32 in the morning, and yes, this is a very, 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 very early edition of the Ring Psychology Podcast 2.0, episode number 5. And yes, it is showtime, folks. Welcome, top of the morning to you, wherever you may be. Yes, this is Double A coming to you live, and yes, even on a wrestling show, I'm still representing because there's a very important game coming tomorrow. But nonetheless, this is about wrestling. We're going to keep it about wrestling. Nonetheless, the tribal chief and second greatest asshole in the world, my good friend and co-host of the Mizzle and Dove Show, is joining us, Mr. Raymond Mizzle Mason. Of course, as you can see, he wants you to acknowledge him. And of course, my co-host on this podcast and a very good friend of ours from the All Pro Jaffos, the one, the only, the bad guy, JP, Josh Pruneda. Hey yo. Anyhow, we're gonna jump into it because yours truly today has the privilege of calling his first boxing event. I'm gonna call it remotely from my room, but the event will be held in Arizona. But special thanks to Mel Carey, who also does tremendous work for the A7FL, giving me an opportunity, so I'm greatly appreciated. So this will be kind of like a fast-paced show, but let's get right into it. There were other events being covered in Las Vegas other than Super Bowl 58, as the bitch slap heard around the world took place at the opening press conference. As you can see under my name, it definitely is WrestleMania season. The first kickoff press conference took place at T-Mobile Arena. Of course, ending with The Rock perhaps going to corporate heel, tribal heel, or maybe Hollywood Rock might be making a return, although he kind of gave it away being on the Pat McAfee show.
Oh, yes, he did.
Talking about those other Cody fans.
Cody
and then, of course, Dwayne being Dwayne turned it into, well, if you talk about his blood, turn about my blood, and then the slap around the world. But then to top that off, as Triple H was being interviewed, here comes The Rock again, talking about if you don't handle it, we will. And we'll talk about what happened last night on SmackDown with Triple H's promo. But let's just go back real quick to the events that it was in Las Vegas. We had the confrontation between Becky and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, that was nice too.
Which was very good in its own right. But I mean, just your overall takeaway, as indeed it is WrestleMania season, and we are heading our way towards Philadelphia, PA on April the 6th and the 7th.
I mean, with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, that one I was kind of like, okay, I can tell this is probably not going to be their main women's match. I think that's spot kind of right now is specifically reserved for Bayley and Io, to kind of cap off that whole damage control storyline. Because for Becky to kind of come out and lay out a little bit of a challenge before winning Elimination Chamber, it's kind of like, oh, well, this is a segment that they probably could have done on Raw or SmackDown, but they had to add, I guess, a little bit of spice to it because nobody really came out for Bianca, which I was hoping Jade would come and step out to. Go ahead.
There's some rumblings going on that they're trying to set up Jade and Bianca. So something could be coming with that.
Well, I mean, Jade was in Vegas. I mean, she was at the this NFL IFA get together that, of course, our good friends Derek and Chris were at, and there was a picture of Jade Cargill talking with Shannon Sharp. So she was in Vegas.
Best behavior, Uncle Sharp. Uncle Shannon, relax. Be on your best behavior. I've watched Club Shay Shay and the Nightcap. Yeah. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
So I mean, she was there in the building. She was in town here in Vegas.
Do we feel that the Io Sky and Bayley is more interesting than what's going on with Rhea Ripley right now?
Well, yeah, because there's history. Because I mean, just last night, I mean, I forgot her name, but the other original member of Damage Control,
Dakota Kai.
Came back.
You took my next question away with that, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I have been watching this for years, bro. So we kind of know what's going on. But now you throw her back into the mix, and now you have a full-fledged circle story about, well, you know what? She feels screwed. Maybe she helps Bayley, or does the swerve come into where she screws Bayley? Now that question now can come into play.
That's where I was going with. Yeah.
Leading up towards Mania. So now here's what I'll say to this. If it could main event night 1, or it could be one of your big plays on night 2, which I would say put it on night 2, because I mean, it just adds to the mystique to where, you could really full-fledged tell out that story, because I'm pretty sure after this particular night, this story is not going to end. It's going to continue. It may possibly lead to another pay-per-view. So the story might continue. It may not, but I mean, I know this. Bayley's done a lot of things, but the one thing Bayley has not had is her WrestleMania moment. All the others in the 4 Horsewomen have. True. Bayley's the one that has not had her WrestleMania moment. So, is the payoff coming for her? Obviously, we'll find out as we progress.
She clearly took a back seat. You can clearly see it, because she was up here, and then she became a manager. So she must have took something, and the company's about to reward her. So I believe that she might take it from Io. I mean, Io hasn't really been a champion that's been out there. Like, I don't even know anything about her run right now. I just know she's part of Damage Control.
Yeah, it's tough for her because, and this has been like a historical thing, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have yet to see an extended long, and I just want to say this has no, I'm not saying shit about Io like in a bad way or anything else like that, because she's an extremely talented woman.
Yes, she is.
But language barrier does come into play
100%.
when it comes to being the champion. Now, can she go? Is her English probably a whole lot better than I'm giving credit for, or that I've heard? Maybe. I don't know. It could be, but that's one of the things with their champions. If you're going to have a long extended run, that means you're probably going to be doing press releases. That means you're probably going to be doing going on talk shows and all this other kind of. And if you have a champion that has the language barrier, it makes it a little tough for them to do that. So, and on top of that, the main point of what's been going on with Damage Control is essentially the Kabuki Warriors are in it, and Bayley's kind of been by the wayside. Io's not really. Her story about this whole thing has been a little. Not a whole lot of. That's the thing. The fact that we haven't even have to ask that at this point in time is kind of one of those. I think they're gonna top it off with Bayley. Although night 2 would be good, night 2 is reserved for Roman and Cody. That's just what it's going to be. So I would think if you're going to give Bayley her WrestleMania moment and do it the right way, have her cap off night 1.
I agree to that. That's a good way to look at it.
Have her cap off night 1 that way. Night 1 you can have a women's main event, and then night 2 you have a men's main event, and then you can throw Rhea and Seth, those two champions wherever you want. You probably put Seth on night 1 and Rhea on night 2 to kind of have that balance. But plus I think with Rhea is another one of those that I'm trying to figure out what she's doing. Even that little interaction with Bayley, or not with Bayley, with Becky,
Nia.
Well, and with Nia too. It's at a point where she's trying to find someone, whether that be Nia, whether that be Becky, whether that be, whoever it may be. She hasn't really developed much of a storyline with anybody up until this point, because she's just been, going around doing everything with Judgment Day. She's been so enamored and intact with everything that's going on with that storyline that her own singles storyline is kind of being pushed away. And that's weird when you're the women's world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't really, make any sense to me. So for her, I mean, I would love to have, before Jade kind of got into the mix, I thought Rhea and Bianca would be an awesome one.
Beautiful.
They have a great relationship together and stuff like that too, going back to their days in NXT. So I think that would be, and that might be a matchup that they're holding on to for whatever reason.
Overseas, maybe.
Well, I mean, they are going to her home country for what's the name of the pay-per-view? Elimination Chamber.
It's not Elimination Chamber. Yeah.
So I mean,
I believe that's why we got her at Nia, because she'll be home,
and she will get a huge pop that night. Also, oh my God, she might get the loudest pop of the night.
I like what they're doing with Rhea, and what's a good thing about Rhea is she's a heel, but she's a fan favorite.
She's tweening.
So beautiful.
She's the tweener right now. She's tweening.
Yes, and she can do, and they're doing it right. But I would like to see her in the ring a little bit more, as JP was saying. We want wrestling champions. That's what we grew up watching. Every time there was a show, the champion was there, maybe in the backstage whooping some ass, or he was wrestling. He or she was wrestling. That's how I like my champions.
You don't have, like, with WrestleMania, and maybe you guys can give input on how y'all feel about this, but I was never a fan of continuing a story after WrestleMania. WrestleMania to me was always the cap off, the ending to every story, to every storyline or whatever that has gone up into that point. WrestleMania is where it caps off an end, and then you start over from fresh pretty much, the next night on the night after Raw.
You're not wrong with that, and I would, yes, but it depends on the storyline.
Yeah, because
like with the bloodline, you had to keep that going. We were all entertained and into that, so that storyline has to go on. Just like I believe this new storyline with The Rock joining the bloodline now, I think we're going to get that for a little bit, because The Rock said he's in it for the long haul. So let's see. But yes, I do agree. Certain storylines do need to end. Like Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, that needs to end at WrestleMania. Cody and Roman, that kind of needs to end, but it's not, because I believe with The Rock slapping Cody, we're going to get Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman somewhere down the line. So that's going to be a start.
Probably an Elimination Chamber.
We could be. We'll see this Friday coming up, because Rock and Roman are supposed to be together, as good old Paul Heyman announced that. But yeah, I agree, JP. Certain storylines should end. Something has to end with Becky Lynch and her story. Yada yada yada.
I'll say it like this, and I'll go from a historical. I'll go from a historical perspective. The Mega Powers exploding at WrestleMania 5. That story had to continue because of the dynamic, because of Miss Elizabeth, which gave us SummerSlam '89 with Macho Man and Zeus against Hogan and Bruce the Barber Beefcake, which then led us to the no holds barred Saturday night's main event steel cage match. So that dynamic had to continue. Andre and Hogan from WrestleMania 3, that had to continue, because just the dynamic of the body slam heard around the world. That continued on Survivor Series, which continued to one of the highest rated wrestling things on national TV, with the main event in February of '88, when Andre and the Evil Hebner and the double Hebners come into play, and that's when we get our first. That's when we get our first introduction to Earl Hebner. Now I'll give you another example. Of course, My favorite WrestleMania match of all time. It will be number one until I die. It will forever be Steamboat and Savage. You couldn't continue after that because the way that match went, you could not continue that feud because nothing could top what they did at WrestleMania 3. What they did at WrestleMania 3 was special. That's one example of you can't continue that story because you topped it off up here.
Yeah.
You can't go no higher than that. And then, like Mrs. Point, WrestleMania 15, The Rock and Austin, it couldn't end there. It had to continue. Hence why you gave us Backlash. So I mean, there's you can tell when you have something special when a story is being told, and it's like, well, you know what? It can't stop there. I just need a little bit more.
Well, that means with going to that starts to make me think with Cody short, like let's with The Rock and Roman. He says he's in or The Rock says he's in for the long haul. Then that kind of tweaks my mind a little bit, going, if that's the case, they may not actually finish Cody's story at this WrestleMania.
Whoa.
That's a valid point.
Something is another interference, whether it be by The Rock or by somebody else or whatever. Maybe Jacob and Zilla, make their debut, during WrestleMania or something like that. Just somebody completely out of the realm that anybody would think of. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, both Zilla and Jacob were at the Royal Rumble.
Oh,
they were in.
Correct.
I believe so. And Booker T has been throwing shit all over the place trying to get Jacob and Zilla in there.
Yes.
So for them being at the Rumble, very they were in the crowd, but there were spottings of them. It's not like they were backstage. But in the independent circuit, they're throwing up the ones.
Oh.
I've seen plenty of pictures, plenty of videos. You got Jacob and Zilla side by side throwing up the ones. So I'm looking at it going, if this is going to be super long haul, we just saw The Rock put up this huge family tree.
Indeed.
And both Jacob and Zilla were on the family tree.
Oh shit!
Along with the Snookas and everybody, even Trinity was on there, and I was kind of like, okay. So I look at that and I go, WrestleMania 40. You would think this is where, especially with everything that's been going on, this is definitely where Cody has to finish the story. Well, if Cody. Let's just say Cody finishes the story. What exactly is The Rock going to be doing with Roman for the long haul? Just for the seat at the table? It doesn't involve a championship, so we're just talking about the head of the table, or what are we really talking about?
Well, supposedly it's supposed to be a trilogy: WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and then I forgot the other, and I think another WrestleMania. So supposedly 2 WrestleManias and a SummerSlam is supposed to be their trilogy, which now throws in this question: does The Rock swerve Roman at WrestleMania to put Cody over so Cody can finish the story? Because there's so many
stories.
There's always some swerve, some curveball thrown in to the wrench. And now, from a authoritative standpoint, with Triple H's promo that he put last night.
Oh, that was perfect last night. That was perfect.
So I'm talking about some people don't know their role.
Yeah.
Because we know there is no love lost in the Triple H Rock feud, one of the great feuds of the Attitude Era. And basically that feud carried the company when Austin was recovering from his neck surgery. So there's that dynamic. And we know both of them are good on the mic. We know both can throw jabs all day because Triple H has the Phillips hair in his heart. He can't go no more. So
That sucks.
I mean, now he might throw his authoritative state in this storyline because I mean
he's the new Vince McMahon. Triple H will be the new Vince McMahon. That they're gonna find a way to write him in without the wrestling aspect. I believe that can happen. But as JP said, WrestleMania ends stories. It also starts storylines. So maybe we could get this storyline as Dub is breaking down. Maybe the whole family comes out on stage at WrestleMania. Who knows?
Oh, they're gonna overbook the shit out of this one. Like I guarantee they're gonna overbook it. A part of me is thinking that somehow it could be like it. I mentioned to you guys in the group chat. You know, it reminds me of Daniel Bryan at 30, having to go through.
Yep.
You know, Triple H at the beginning just to get into the match. So now I don't know if because again, Cody has gone and he won the Royal Rumble. He's made his choice and stuff already. So it's not like, oh hey, he's got to earn his way to the title picture match. That's not the case. I think you're basically going to skip that first match and put it directly in like a triple threat. But even then, Rock and Roman walked out together.
Indeed.
They left the building together.
Yeah, that's
so now it's like, well, it's the bloodline versus the Rhodes family. We're talking about
Dustin a free agent, or is he still part of AEW?
Who?
Dustin.
He's still signed to AEW as far as I know.
Man, wouldn't that be something if he came out on WrestleMania just to be by his brother's side?
Help out.
Ooh, man, just to get a piece of the Nightmare family, a little bit of Nightmare.
Or since they can't, you can have Randy go in there and do something with that history.
This is true.
Go in and help Cody because what was it? A Survivor Series with Randy basically giving the final pin and everything like that to Cody. So there's a little bit of a relationship there.
And he also has Seth as well. So something could be boiling. I mean,
there's going to be interference because if they make it a triple threat, then all bets are off. It's going to be overbooked. There's going to be interference after interference after. We're probably going to have a 30, maybe a 45-minute match.
Oh yeah,
worth of just overbooking, and it's just the emotions of the crowd are going to be going from damn it again to holy crap he's gonna. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. The whole emotional roller coaster of that match. But it's just how do you really piece it together? Because after Cody basically handed over his spot to The Rock. And what did they say after that? We're going to monitor the situation. We're going to monitor what happens on social media, which obviously everybody was pissed off about the booking decision there. And all that did was since they basically took those reins and went, oh, okay. Well, now we have an opportunity to do something here. Hence, heel Rock. Now coming out with the Cody Crybabies at the Pat McAfee show and calling them out. He was getting booed a good bit, during his entrance, during that press conference and everything else like that. So heel Rock at this point with a heel Roman, it doesn't necessarily make sense to put them both head to head. At this point in time, again, like you said, if there's a swerve or something down the line where The Rock comes in and it makes Roman think that something's going to happen, and then he just completely turns on Roman. There's a lot of possibilities with this match. I'll just say that.
Now it's funny. Now Mizzle mentioned something about Dustin Rhodes. Now here's something that I just came across on ringsidenews.com. Now, This is from an Eric Bischoff perspective. Of course, Eric Bischoff has his podcast he does with Conrad Thompson called 83 Weeks. Of course, Conrad Thompson does Grilling JR with Jim Ross, and he also does I forgot the one he does with Tony Schiavone, but obviously Conrad Thompson does a whole lot of podcasts with also David Crockett. But something that Eric Bischoff did say on his 83 Weeks podcast, where he did say he is urging Tony Khan to let Dustin be a part of the storyline because, in a sense, you can't have Cody do it by himself because obviously the Rhodes carry a huge name
Yep.
in this business. I mean, like I said, I mean, it was Dusty that saw the greatness in Seth, saw the greatness in Roman. Obviously, Paul Heyman is who he is because of Virgil Reynolds, baby, if you will. Obviously, Diamond Dallas Page became DDP because Dustin saw something in him, baby. And then, of course, who is nearing the end of his run, of course, Sting, who does one of the best Dusty impressions you will ever want to hear. Talk about Stinger, baby. We're going to paint your face and put you with a nature boy Ric Flair. So, I mean,
100%.
Dusty's imprint is all over this story just because, obviously, his son, obviously, he molded Roman before, obviously, Dusty passed away. So, I mean, Dusty's imprint is in this story. Of course. Go ahead.
Can I ask you this? Can I ask this question?
Go ahead.
What was one of the things Rock said before he put up that family tree? He quoted Cody's intro. Wrestling has only one royal family.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
I mean, I know we sometimes we look too much into things, but these wrestlers give away a lot of stuff that's going on. And us been watching it since we were kids. We know how the business goes. I believe Dustin will show up just by what Rock said and what you just said right there. We might get that.
Who else is, just so because I'm trying to picture this in my head. Who was part of the Nightmare family?
It was Cody, Dustin.
In the beginning,
Cody,
Dustin. I want to say
Arn Anderson.
Yes.
Arn Anderson. Obviously,
and Pops, right?
No, Dusty was passed away by then. Brandy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Randy.
Red Velvet.
Yeah.
QT Marshall.
Yep.
Good Lord.
And one more.
I want to say Zack Ryder, but under his under the name Matt Cardona.
Matt Cardona.
No, but I'm saying is he would come sporadically and help out Cody because him and Cody were friends from their time in Ring of Honor.
Yes.
So then, could it be a possibility where, all this talk of with The Rock going, when you talk about his family, you talk about my family, and at some point, Cody's going to be well, let me introduce my Nightmare family.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Boom, Dustin comes out, Arn comes out, Brandy. I don't know why Brandy would come out, but nonetheless, just to kind of show like the numbers or whatever.
Well, Naomi is back.
I do not believe
that. Naomi's back.
Yeah, but can you insert her into the story that quickly when she's got her own thing kind of going on right now?
Yeah, no possibility. No, and Nia got her own thing going. What about Tamina? Can you bring Tamina back?
I don't know where they are in the relationship when it comes to WWE and Tamina. Yeah, I mean, WWE had been trying to kind of like slyly erase the Snuka name, especially after everything that happened. So the fact that they even put the name and stuff like that up there is a good sign, I would guess, for someone like Tamina.
Well, I don't think Tamina is. Yes, they want to erase his father's history, even though Snuka was a part of Vince Sr.'s legacy because he made Vince Sr. a lot of money, and Vince Jr. took care of him. I don't think Tamina necessarily was buried because of her father, because that's unfair to her. Because
Right.
like I said, the way WWE is being ran now, and you've heard Cody say it, and you've heard Seth say it. This is pretty much like a big ass family when it comes to the locker room, and we all know how wrestling locker rooms in the past have been.
Oh yeah.
There's cliques, there's disagreements,
Yep.
there's fighting backstage, so on and so forth. But like this particular group is really all together. And like Seth said, I mean, he said this on a Super Bowl show here in Vegas earlier in the week. He said basically what that stuff is what that stuff is. Our job is to go out there and give the fans a good show that come paid their hard-earned money to come watch us perform and do what we do. Like, we really can't do anything about what's going on out there with the scandal and this and the third. Like, we just want to be like, okay, how can we put the best show together to entertain these people that come spend their money on us?
Yeah.
That's our job. That's our goal. That's our focus.
Yeah.
Could it also be instead of, I mean, because when you think of the Nightmare Family, it's like, yes, Dustin and Arn Anderson. And QT Marshall is kind of one of those. It's like, yeah, he was in there, but I don't think if you brought him into the WWE universe, people would be like, oh shit, it's QT Marshall coming to help out Cody Rhodes. Like, I don't think he would get that kind of rub. So then my mind goes to everybody that the bloodline has screwed over up until this point.
Ooh.
So you got Sammy and KO. You've got
McIntyre.
Randy. You've got Drew is on a very different path right now.
And I like it.
Drew is on a heel path right now, and I think literally once CM Punk comes back, that will be his first match against Drew McIntyre. Because I keep telling everybody who I've had this conversation with, I don't think there was anything held back by any of the shots that Drew McIntyre was taking on CM Punk. Those were all shoot shots from beginning to end. Every slam with authority, every chop wasn't held back. Everything that happened to CM Punk was a shoot.
I agree.
So now, at that point, I kind of go, well, I kind of want to talk about like Drew's professionalism a little bit, because I get like, yeah, bad blood and stuff like that. But even Matt Hardy and Edge knew when to keep it professional and keep it personal and stuff. Yeah, they got a couple of shoot shots and stuff like that here and there, but Drew McIntyre went out of his way to try and hurt CM Punk, and essentially did. You know, I saw the video where they mentioned Punk tearing his tricep. It was during one of the
DDT,
a Future Shock DDT that he took from Drew, which Drew held in tighter when he dropped it. So it's like the professionalism there. I'm kind of like, all right, dude. Like, I get certain shit is personal. I don't think Seth would have gone that far.
No.
Like, I know Seth has his problems, but I don't think he would have gone that far because, you know, now is it Drew just trying to? It's one of those. Well, if I do this, they're going to be talking about me, and they can't fire me if I do. Because I'm going to be completely honest. Up until this point, where was Drew going?
Ooh. Yeah.
Where Drew was going absolutely nowhere until this heel turn, and then now this situation with Punk. Because now with Punk, it's like, well, he's hurt. He's probably going to be out for, you know, a good 6 months, maybe longer than that.
4 to 6.
But, you know, the first match that he has to have, especially with all the shit that Drew has been talking since then, with the don't skip tricep day, the shirt with him and everything. Of course, he's going to be the first match coming back.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, like with Drew, I think it was not only personal issues that got into the way, but he was willing to take liberties for his own, to keep his job, essentially. Because again, you can't fire the guy who got rid of one of the top guys because that's a storyline when they come back.
Yep.
And WWE will chase the money over personal feelings anytime, anywhere. So it's kind of like professionalism wise. I think Drew, maybe going down a path where he needs to fucking check himself real quick before he goes down the path of Mr. Chosen Ego from back in the day and why he got, canned from WWE in the first place. He was on that path. Because, again, before this heel run, before this whole thing with Punk, he was going nowhere. If I'm not mistaken on the dirt sheets and stuff, Drew McIntyre's name popped up more than once when it came to possible firings in WWE because they had nothing for him. They had nothing for him. So they didn't have a storyline. They didn't. So he kind of had to make his own way, which, I mean, hey, hats off to you. You kept your job, but you kind of screwed somebody else from one. I think without Drew McIntyre doing that to Punk, we wouldn't have had the swerve and this whole situation that we have with Cody and The Rock, and this wouldn't be here. This wouldn't happen because we know what would have happened. CM Punk facing Seth while Cody faced Roman. But because Drew took liberties, it became a whirlwind of a shit show. And now Seth is kind of forced, like really the only person that he can go up against is Drew. That's it. There's really, who else for Seth other than Punk and Drew would have made sense at WrestleMania? No one. So it's, again, I don't like the professionalism. I don't like how it happened because, again, it threw so much shit off balance. It threw things off so much that The Rock felt like he had to interject himself. This is going to shit. My name is big enough to where we can, get like, and he got the complete opposite reaction he thought he was going to get.
Yeah. Which is good because I believe it's going to turn to a good storyline.
Well, of course, but it's something that didn't. So how do we look at it this way? Do we look at it as a blessing in disguise? Because we're possibly going to be getting a storyline that we can't even wrap our heads around of what possibilities could happen at this point? Or is it kind of one of those, all right, well, we kind of have to do this now, but fuck, thanks, Drew, for making this a whole lot more difficult than it needed to be.
I'm going to go with both. I believe that The Rock thought he was going to get a warm welcome, but he didn't realize the magnitude of Cody Rhodes' fan base and about how people feel about Cody wanting to write the finish the story is a perfect storyline. And the fans are like, fuck you, Rock, you're getting in the middle of that. So we know the creative mind of the WWE. Look how fast they turned that around. As you said, they were monitoring when The Rock first came out. Yeah, he got all the pop and everything like that until Cody made that promo. Yeah. And so I think it's a blessing in disguise in a way, and we're going to get something great. It's good. The Rock was going to come back regardless because of the Vince scandal. I think that was going to happen regardless, just for the divert from Vince. So I have to go with both.
Are we looking at Rock as the new corporate entity?
I believe so.
Since he's technically now the board member, the head of the table. So, but the whole trilogy with Roman thing, that's when I was kind of like, well, how are you going to do that when Roman and Cody are going at WrestleMania? Like, how are you going to make that happen? Do you make Cody fight both of them? Ooh. Night 1 and night 2? You have night 1, Cody versus The Rock, and then night 2, Cody versus Roman?
Could that be could night 1 be Cody doing what Daniel Bryan had to do to get the title? Go through a gauntlet? Could they be bringing that back?
Yeah, except without the stipulation, because again,
Yeah,
he earned his way already with the Royal Rumble,
yeah.
but it'd be one of those like they would have to turn the story into Cody being like, I am going to eradicate I am going to get rid of everyone. I am sick of the bloodline. I'm sick of them interfering. I'm sick of all. I am going to pick them apart one by one,
So it's
so
going to
that
be
they
what
will
Sami
not.
Zayn and KO couldn't do.
Kinda. You have night one. Or leading up to that point, you'll probably have Cody taking on Solo or Jimmy and stuff like just kind of during the live shows and even at the elimination
Now
chamber.
we forgot about Jay. Jay will be on Cody's side. Now you can mingle that in because you know he has animosity towards the family.
Yeah.
You can throw his name in the hat too.
But will
So
we
you have
finally
all.
get? But will we finally get brother versus brother at WrestleMania as
See,
both of them?
I'm glad you said that because I think they're about to do something with Gunther. And I mentioned this on the last show that we did. You put the strap on Jay and let him and Jimmy go at it at WrestleMania for their dream match.
But then what do you do with Gunther?
I think him and
You can
we
put.
know
you
Priest
could
is going to
possibly
cash in. You know
could
Priest
put
is going to
Gunther
cash in.
You can put Gunther. You can put him up there to give him a not a run with the title, but put him in contention for the world heavyweight title because he's earned that right. Because
And he got
has
so much better on the mic too.
He has brought Worth back to the Intercontinental title because the Intercontinental title for a long time had no worth, and Gunther brought Worth back to that title. He truly
100%.
has with his amazing run. Because I mean,
100%.
back in the day, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say in his broadcast, the prestigious Intercontinental title. It's now prestigious again. It has worth again. There is prestige. There's now prestige being the Intercontinental champion again. Because normally, when you win that was a stepping stone to you winning the World Heavyweight title. It was that way for the Macho Man. It was that way for Bret Hart, The Rock, Austin. I would say if Kerry wasn't on drugs, Kerry Von Erich would have went into that same fate also, because he probably would have been a world champion if he could have kept his head right. But I mean, you look at the Road Gates, Savage, Bret, Austin, Rock, Jericho. Even though we don't want to say his name, but Benoit, winning the IC title led you to the run of becoming the world champion. So I mean, there's prestige now with the IC strap once again.
I always had the impression that the only one who should take the IC title off of Gunther is Ilya Dragunov. He's the only one who can do it, in my opinion. The way those two go at it with each other, and I don't know if you guys remember the match during the COVID year that Ilya and Gunther had for at that point the United Kingdom Championship. I'm telling y'all, and you can go back to their matches and stuff like that that they had with each other during the Independence and everything. Ilya Dragunov and Gunther will be, once Ilya comes to the main roster, that'll be the hottest rivalry out of anybody at that point, because you're talking about physical, and just I don't think there's anybody in the WWE right now who chops harder than Gunther. And Ilya is right underneath him. And Ilya has that very much, that war passion type of style. So him and Gunther, I think, for the IC title, and Ilya has come off like our stories are. He said this, like, our stories are aligned. It will end at something like with me and him, whether it's for the IC title whether it's for the world title, tag, whatever the hell titles it may be, it will come down to me and him. Our story is not over yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you can have because I feel like with Gunther, he's sitting on a mountain, he's sitting humble. The only person that would make him see ghosts is Ilya.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
You know, now if they give the title to Jay, I wouldn't necessarily be upset with it, but I would wonder because like if I ask you guys, how realistic is it for Jay to beat Gunther?
Not.
It's not even really a 50-50, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not. But storyline wise, David versus Goliath.
Right. But they haven't really built that up until this point yet.
Yeah, I think they probably was trying to feel how the crowd felt about it with Jay coming out on that promo when Gunther was celebrating his title reign.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little more interesting. But just think how Jay got the crowd going. Imagine him with that title. It's gonna just blow the top off the roof right now because he's hot. He's real hot right now. So why not put the title on him and give him a little run?
Yeah, I mean you could. I'm just trying to look at it like right now, like the box. Like, look, main event.
You're trying to see where the story is. Where can they lead him if he takes the title?
Right.
Oh.
Like if he takes the title, where is it that? I mean, yes, brother versus brother at WrestleMania. That's the end goal. Jimmy and Jay want that. It was teased a little bit, at the Royal Rumble. Yep. Of what could happen there. Mm-hmm. And I think and that's not a fight I think you need a title for.
No,
I definitely. No. So that's where in my head, I look at it like, and this is how I would book it. Maybe there's a reason I'm not a booker, but I feel like some of my ideas are okay. But how I would book it is, Ilya has a NXT Championship match with, I think it's Dijak, sometime soon at the next NXT pay-per-view. I go, okay, Elimination Chamber, Jay, Gunther, IC title, Gunther goes over. At the Elimination Chamber, either or it could be the on Raw or SmackDown, however they want to do it. Gunther kind of goes up with the same, I've beaten everybody. There's nobody else that can beat me. There's nobody else that's on my level. And who comes out? The fucking conductor himself, the composer himself, Ilya Dragunov. And I swear, you will see Gunther like, eyes wide open, but just you will, because if you, like I said, you go back to the history, Ilya was the last one to beat Gunther up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's kind of, why not capitalize on that? Because that's one of those stories that I feel like you can put at WrestleMania right after Elimination Chamber, because there's already such an extensive history between those two that you can build it within a month. I have no doubt whatsoever that they can build it within a month. But for Gunther, that's how I would hope. Because again, you're talking about WrestleMania 40 here. 40 is supposed to be the biggest one ever. 2 nights. You got to pack both of those shows with matches that aren't those P-break matches.
Yep.
Shit, this is coming up. I can go to the concession stands and stuff like that. But now,
yep.
Like, no, you want every bit. I would much rather have people piss themselves because they don't want to leave than and then to have them get up to go to the bathroom, on a match that could be important. I think Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther, Jay versus Jimmy, Cody versus Roman, Rhea. I mean, I would like Rhea Bianca, but that's not the direction they're going. I would prefer, again, Bianca Jade over everything right now.
It's going to be Becky.
Probably, right? I mean, why would she? You go out there and cut a promo like that just to not win? But like, who else is in the Elimination Chamber with or for the women? Do we happen to have the?
I don't think it's been.
Belair.
I don't think it's been announced yet, other than Bianca.
Okay.
No, it's Becky and Bianca because they're doing the tournament right now to see who gets in. So we got 2 out of the 5 right now. Yeah,
we got qualifying.
2 out of 5.
Okay. Well then, Liv Morgan's going to be in the mix.
I'm about to say she's going to win Monday night. So there goes 3.
You got Liv Morgan.
Could Jade be a surprise entrance? Could she take the 5th spot just without doing nothing, just to spice it up?
Who?
Jade.
Possibly. That would be That would be interesting, considering we haven't seen her since the Royal Rumble. I feel like she's gonna need more screen time.
I'm about to say she's green. She's still so green with them right now.
But it's like she had a really good showing at the Royal Rumble.
She did.
I think if you're gonna build her properly for a match against someone like Bianca, who I said it multiple times, she is the Shawn Michaels of the women's division. She can do no wrong at WrestleMania. She can do no wrong at WrestleMania at all. You're gonna need to build it a little bit more. Just a stare off in the middle of the match at the Royal Rumble is not as pop worthy as that was. You need more than that. You're going to need more than that for people to invest. So, I mean, whether it's you have, don't do this, because then that would be just typical old WWE bullshit. How the pose offs and the arm wrestling contests and the athletic, they like all that kind of stuff, like Steiner and Triple H going at it with arm wrestling contest type of thing, like
the Alpha Academy.
Don't go that
route. Who was the Alpha Academy versus I forgot who it was. Randy Orton and Riddle. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was horrible television.
But it's there's so many matches, there's so much stuff that can go on for WrestleMania. And the storylines are good. Or at least the ones that are developed so far, are good. So
since Triple H took over, I have not been too much disappointed with any television on Raw or SmackDown. Hell, even NXT is cooking. When you got all 3 factions are great, and I can't wait till we get the SmackDown gets to USA, because I can't watch it on my my catch-up TV because something's just off with it. But I'm excited. I have that kid feeling again watching it. Dub, when we were on my birthday, when we were watching the Royal Rumble, that feelings are coming back again, and I'm glad it's in good hands with Triple H, because I don't think he's going to let this company fall. I think he's mending fences that Vince broke. And now, like you said, Dub, the locker room is a family type feeling. There's no pressure of Vince McMahon being back there, and you're not walking on eggshells no more. Just look at what Triple H has done. They're taping shows now so wrestlers can be with their family, instead of being, the grind of being live all the time. So the culture has changed in that locker room, and they're going in the right direction. And I like it. Every storyline, like you said, JP, is good.
Yeah, I was wondering on that, like how quickly, especially with Vince gone, that they would change up the schedules. because I've always been one of those that have said, it's like, oh man, well, if this person didn't get injured and they would have done well. I mean, shit, they're getting injured because they're fighting over 300 plus days of fucking year. Pretty much every day on live shows, on house shows, on pay-per-views, on everything else like that. The schedules for these wrestlers are super extensive, and it's not hard to see why they would get hurt.
Yes.
So if you knock that 300 days to, I don't know, maybe not 200. 200 seems like a lot, or like not as much.
But it helps.
It would help. It's just, but you know what? I could probably stay on that because that would help a lot of the wrestlers that don't necessarily get as much TV time for them to get TV time. Mm-hmm. They have a problem right now where there's so much talent in that locker room right now that, if things go over, whatever, we're getting segments that are getting cut. Mm-hmm. It just, there's so much going on that if you have, instead of them coming in 300 days a year, come in for 200, those extra 100 days, you can be able to develop the other talent that you have on the roster to get them just as over.
Yeah. Now, can I mention, I love what they're doing with R-Truth and the Judgment Day. God damn it, that shit is so hilarious. That is some smart writing. I mean, and mixing in the Miz with it too. That Truth is a damn fool, man.
Am I the only one who thinks Truth is going to be the reason why Senor Money in the Bank has a failed cash in?
Possibility.
I am 100% on the belief that
I wouldn't doubt it.
When Damian Priest cashes his Money in the Bank, R-Truth is going to find some way to fuck it up.
That will be perfect and hilarious, all in one. I'm here for it. Sign me up.
That would be great.
That Truth is just delivering. It's great.
Yeah, he's good right now. He's definitely good quality TV right now.
Yeah, he's gold. He's golden.
Dub, anything you want to get off before this the early episode is over, so you can get to the boxing stuff? Anything you want to get off your chest real quick?
No, I'm just excited for it. Oh, don't forget, 5 p.m. tonight. Talk break down Super Bowl 58 and a little twist. I will give the reason as to why the Chiefs will beat my team, and he will give the reason as to why the Niners will beat the Chiefs. So we're kind of flipping it on today's show. And, of course, we will give our top 5 Super Bowls that do not involve our team. So 702-608-3259 if you want to call in and give your Super Bowl prediction. And also, like I said, I will try to give you guys the link for those that want to hear yours truly call this boxing event in 30 minutes up there in Arizona. But for the bad guy, JP, for my co-host, Mizzle, which will catch the Mizzle Dub Show tomorrow after the Super Bowl. You might see Stephen A. Mizzle. You never know. Depends on the outcome of the game. But nonetheless, I'm Double Anthony Alvarez. Who knows? We might do a second episode tonight, depending on how we feel. You never know. But in the meantime, thank you for watching episode 5 of the Ring Psychology Podcast, and we'll see you in the ring.